And my favorite fight in the near future is Covington versus Usman, or Usman versus Covington, I should say, because Usman's a chap. So I think Usman versus Covington is definitely what I'm looking forward to. I absolutely cannot wait for that. And it was, if you ask me to pick my favorite fight of last year, it's Usman versus Covington. So for me as a fight fan, that is absolutely gold standard. I like something like Masvidal versus Askren, but Usman and maybe Masvidal versus Askren gets is the type of fight that generally gets more eyeballs. But for me, Usman versus Covington was an absolutely brilliant fight. It was a fight where both guys left everything in the octagon. And I think that's what made that fight. I think both guys left everything in that octagon. The Kobe Covington had his jaw broken midway through the fight. And if anyone's ever been hit on the jaw, just a hit, you know how it stuns you and you know how it feels. Now, just imagine if there's a break in the bone over here. It's going to be like being stunned for your entire sort of. It's like being stunned for the entire fight and for the entire period. It's like having a constant sort of hit on the jaw. And that guy went out there, and if you remember the start of round four, I think he broke his jaw in round three, or who knows when he broke his jaw. We heard him tell his corner man he broke his jaw in end of round three. He came out in round four to win the fight. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, that man's a savage, absolute savage. He, in fact, protested against the referee when the referee stopped the fight. He still wanted to go. Kobe Covington's got no give, man. Absolutely no give. But here's what I'm thinking. Like you said, I agree. Kobe gave it his best shot. He gave it his best shot, but he walked out with a broken jaw and a stoppage loss in round four. And Usman's arguably only gotten better, if that's even possible. Do you think Usman's got his number, or do you think Kobe's going to come back with something interesting, something that Usman hasn't seen before that he can stun him with this time?
So there are a couple of responses to your question. Point number one, very importantly, and this isn't highlighted enough, the referee stopped the fight in round two because of an eye poke that never was. So I encourage everyone to look this up. Kobe had his fist. I don't remember whether it was the left eye or the right eye, but Kobe had his hand near one of Usman's eyes, and Usman, during the stoppage, actually got his other eye checked. He got the other eye checked by the doctor, and he was holding the other eye. So that was clearly a fake eye poke. And these fights are about momentum, and who knows what would have happened. But I encourage everyone to just Google Usman versus Covington eye poke, and I want people to see this. And the second very important thing I want people to see is the second stoppage later in that round. Usman complained about a nut shot on him. And I think that was nowhere near nut. In fact, I think that was a liver shot. And that's another thing I want people to see. So these are two really, really momentum changing moments. I don't think Covington's complaint that the referee stopped the fight too early is valid. I think he was more or less done. And then what happens at times like these, when the referee lets it go on, people like us say that, look, he put the fighter's career and future at risk. So I think you need to always cut it and give the guy a second chance to continue his career. So that was a right call. But I think these two momentum stoppages and 5-minute breaks in round two were very important in the outcome of the fight. And the second point, the second answer to your question is that if you put a gun on my head, I would go with Usman. I think Kobe may be a more accomplished wrestler, but wrestling is one thing that needs a lot of strength. And I think physically, Usman has more muscle mass. I think he's a bigger guy than Kobe. I wouldn't be surprised if his walking around weight would be much more than Kobe. So I think he has less wrestling experience than Kobe, but I think he's a much stronger guy, which is a very important raw material in wrestling. And I think, as you'll agree, Usman has improved his striking a lot. Usman went toe to toe with Masvidal, and he let the Usman went toe to toe with Masvidal, and he beat Masvidal in a striking contest. And Masvidal is probably one of the best strikers in that division. So I think Usman is a really well-rounded fighter now because he has the striking as well. So I would go with Usman, and that is my take on that fight.
Nice. I think that's an exciting one coming up as well. And I've got Usman as well. I think Kobe is fantastic. If he existed in any other time, he would have been the champion. But unfortunately, he is in the era of a man that I think is the future of the sport in terms of how far the evolutions come. Like GSP was the greatest welterweight of all time, but Usman I think is the new breed, the new animal in that division. He's been one of the most dominant fighters, and I think I saw some stuff on social media where they have lists. I think DC picked a few people, a bunch of other accomplished mixed martial arts experts picked a few people about most dominant fighters, and I was actually very surprised that Usman's not up there. If you think about the way he won the fight against Woodley and how far he's come with each and every one of his title defenses, he has won every minute of every round he has fought. I mean, the Kobe fight was very competitive, but I don't think Kobe was really winning. I mean, we're talking about times when Kobe was in trouble. He broke his jaw in the fight, things like that. But Usman has never been in trouble. I have never seen Usman in trouble in a fight.
Yeah, I think he lost round one to Kobe, definitely. Okay. I think in round two, there were moments when he had to do a fake eye poke and a fake nut shot. Right. And I think round three was when the momentum changed. I think even round three started very well for Kobe, but then Usman got some. So Kobe's strategy with Usman, that fight, actually both guys' strategy was to just stand and trade. There was zero head movement. There was zero footwork. Those guys just stood in front of each other and they bashed each other senseless. If you see even Usman's face at the end, that was the first time I saw Usman do a post-fight interview where he looked a little delirious. Not completely, but he was shivering, his voice wasn't straight.
He had taken some damage. Yeah, he had definitely taken some damage.
But still, he walked out, he ended the fight. So I agree with you completely. But the only guy who took him to a street which he had never been before, I think was Covington. In fact, after Kobe Covington, I don't really see what they if he beats Covington, I don't really see what they can do in that division. I think maybe they'll book something with Leon Edwards. And I think once Leon Edwards, I think Usman has Usman's improved much more than the time he beat Edwards last time. So once Edwards done, I think Usman maybe has to move up, move down, something like that, because he's lapped if he beats Kobe, there's a big if he beats Kobe, then I think he's just lapped everyone. I think he's done everyone, he's done the biggest guys in the division twice. And I think if Kobe wins, I think Kobe is going to try, and Kobe's a businessman, so I think he's going to try and go for the champ. He's already calling out Dustin Poirier, and he's really calling out Dustin Poirier. He's calling his wife a Jezebel, but Dustin's being smart. I don't think Dustin wants to do anything with Kobe in the octagon. Otherwise, he's going to tear that guy a new one. But yeah, I think it's going to be Usman, man. But that's my most awaited fight this year. Absolutely out there. Please like the channel, watch the videos, and subscribe.